Bit older than you guys are. I graduated from Parkview, the best school, in 1991.
Okay.
Yeah.
Class of 98.
Class of 98 from Parkview?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. The best school ever.
Yeah,
the best school ever.
I'm on the
don't
wall.
shake your head. Oh, are you? I haven't been back over there in so long.
Oh, yeah.
The best school ever, Parkview High.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That just made my day.
That's right. Yeah.
That's great. Hey, I see y'all coming in. Hey, Hoop Love. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Vanessa. Good morning, Linda. We coming in there. We are live from Memphis, Tennessee. Let me go share this video from my page and tag you in it. Good morning. Hey, Shanquita. Hey, classmate. I love when I see my classmates long gone. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Corey Peters. I see y'all sharing the video. Yep, go share the video live right now. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who is that? Hey, Kim. Hey, Wana. Everybody's like, hey, hey. I'm going to tell y'all about my guests in just a minute. Y'all know how I am. Hold on. Hey, good morning, everybody. Y'all know we got to set the clocks. Was it back tomorrow?
Yes.
We gain an hour of sleep.
Yes.
That means nobody should be late for church tomorrow. Everybody should be on time tomorrow. Everybody should be on time. Hey, Wana. Oh, wait a minute. I got my volume up on this. Good morning, good morning. I see y'all. Let me read you guys. Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Conversations. I am LaKisha Johnson and this is our Saturday morning interview, and you guys know how I feel about my Saturday morning interviews. Go share the video live, but let me give you the scripture for today, because I didn't have it ready. I had it in my head. It's Matthew 6:33, and it says, "But seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you as well." As well. You can seek absolutely anything you want, but I'm telling you, if you begin to seek God, seek his righteousness, he'll multiply you, he'll increase you in ways that you never, ever, ever imagined. And so I want to introduce you guys to my special guest. I am in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm enjoying Memphis this time. Sometimes I come to Memphis and I don't like Memphis. Memphis is just a different city. But I've really been enjoying my time in Memphis. This is Pastor Casey, and we are at Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church. He let me invade his church this morning. I do have my coffee. I came in with it. He has his tea. I tell people all the time, you don't necessarily have to drink coffee. So welcome, Pastor Casey. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
No problem. Good to have you.
Okay, good. So we're here. He's also, what I found out without a doubt, is that Pastor Casey is from Little Rock.
That's right.
All right. Twin Lakes from Little Rock. He is one of Little Rock's own and finest, and he went to the best high school ever in Little Rock, which is Parkview High School. I mean, you can't get no better than Parkview. I went to Parkview. I almost wanted to sing the alma mater when Parkview High. Like, we could have probably did it and went there, but we didn't want any of you guys that didn't go to Parkview to feel so bad. So welcome, and thanks for being on the show. I'm going to get right in. I always get into question, and one of my very first questions I always ask is, who is Pastor Casey? Who is Pastor Casey? Who are you?
That's a good question. Something I try to figure that out on a daily basis as well. But I think I am a multifaceted individual. I'm not just a man of God.
That's good.
I do lead with that. I'm not just a pastor.
That's good.
I do perform that role, that duty.
That's good.
I'm a husband, but I also have a life outside of church and family, where I am a director of finance for a nonprofit here, which is Girls Inc. of Memphis.
Oh, awesome.
And so, I work in the nonprofit sector, the public sector, and in the church as well. And so I just try to help people.
That's
if you
good.
can't hear that, that's just kind of a theme in my life. I just try to help people and make sure that people understand that no matter where you start, no matter what obstacles you have in your way, you can come out of that. You can grow. You can you can accomplish those things that are in your heart.
That's good. Were you always this person? Like, was helping always your thing? Because I was selfish. I'm going to be honest. There was a period in my life where I was not. I wanted to be helpful, like I help people, but my motives were more selfish. Were you always that person that just wanted to give?
That's a good question. I think for the most part, no.
Okay.
Okay. But what I always have been is I've always been a very stable person, and I've always been a rock or a strong ear for people.
That's good.
And so, after going through some things, I understood that being stable was not something that everyone could do, not something that was just kind of ingrained in people.
That's good.
And so I saw that I had to do something about it.
Okay.
And so once I figured out that I had that power to actually affect or change things, then I really became a giver. And that's what we don't really realize. You go through some selfish periods in life, and you understand that it's not just about you, but it's about those around you. And so if I can lift up those around me, I figured that out, then I would have that success that I sought.
That's good. How old are you? Can I ask? Because we talk about pastoring. How old are you?
37.
How long have you been pastoring?
2 years.
Okay, but when did you first answer your call?
23.
Okay, you were 23?
I was.
What was that like?
It was difficult. It was difficult because I had just graduated from college.
Okay.
I mean, 3-4 weeks ago.
All right.
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Part of a fraternity.
That's correct. That's correct.
Which is a different life.
That's right. But
okay, but it's not a bad thing.
It's
yeah,
not,
but
it's
just
not.
still, yeah.
Yeah, but Kappa Alpha Psi, Fraternity Incorporated.
You see, he threw that in there. He gonna throw it in there.
But great organization, and one thing about Kappa is that it's built on brotherhood.
That's good.
And so they didn't question or ostracize.
That's good.
They surrounded me.
That's good.
And so I think that really made the transition great. I mean, they were there at sermons. They were there.
That's awesome.
They were there at my wedding. I mean,
that's awesome.
all those things. I mean, so they really surrounded me and gave me their love. And then family surrounded me as well.
That's good.
And so the biggest transition, what made it tough, it wasn't the things that were around me, it was me. Because, you live your life, at that point for 23 years, and then all of a sudden you get this call. And like I tell people, it's like when you get saved, you get saved and your life has changed, but, you go home and your room is still dirty.
Yeah.
You
that's
gotta
high five me. That's good. Your room is still dirty. That's
Yeah.
good. It's something significant. And I think people forget that.
Yeah.
I think when people get saved or when they make these transitions into ministry or whatever, that we think, ta-da, everything is going to be great.
Correct.
But like you said, no, you go home and your room is still dirty. Your laundry still needs to be washed.
Correct.
There are parts in your life that haven't been figured out yet, or they don't line up with the call or the thing that you do. I don't think God ever calls us perfect.
No.
But people think so.
Correct.
People will not walk into what God told them to do because they'll be saying, I'm waiting on it. Like, let me get it all together.
Yeah.
And at 23, you weren't all together.
Not at all.
Okay, so what made you answer the call?
Well, for me, I've always been a person, like I said, a person of action. And so once I figured out that I had to be a person of action, it was simply going through the process.
Okay.
And so I think, once again, one of those things that made it tough is that I was young.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't think I was young, but I was young.
Yes.
And so I did, even though people weren't putting pressure on me, I was putting pressure on myself. And so I was trying to live up to this expectation that very few people were actually putting on me. And so, just through time and through the process, I really figured out that I had to really look at the word for myself and see exactly what it was that God was calling me to do.
That's good.
God had never called me to be perfect.
Can you say that? Repeat.
Oh,
say it again.
God had never called me to be perfect.
But why do we think as Christians we need to? What happens in our lives that we feel like we accept Christ and then we get into this thing of perfect? Because I'm going to tell you, that was one of my failures. That was one of my flaws. I've worked so hard at being Christian, and I still struggle with that today. Like, I'm telling you, I do. I worked so hard at being a Christian and was so into my works that it was smothering out my relationship with Christ. Right? You feel me?
I know
what
exactly
happens
what it
in
is.
us that we feel like we need to be perfect?
Okay, you want to go deep early.
Oh, yeah, I go deep. We going
Okay.
deep. We not.
Okay.
Because it's going to set somebody free. Somebody is
Right.
not walking into the fullness of what they need to with God
Yeah.
because they feel like it's got to be perfect. And here at 23, you answered your call. At 23, you said, hey, you know what? God is calling me into a deeper relationship. He's calling me to pastor. Because that's a whole special role to pastor people or to walk into this ministry thing. And you said it perfect. He didn't call me to be perfect. Mm-hmm. But people don't have that resolve. And people will stay away from Christ just because of what you said.
Great. Well, I think it's two things. One is external, and then there's one thing that's internal. Mm-hmm. And so, one, we grow up. Gotta go deep. Okay, we grow up in church. People aren't real. Okay.
Casey, I'm gonna slap you in just a second. I don't want your wife to get mad, but I want to slap you, like I want to high five you, like I want to pow you, because that's real.
Yeah. So,
that's real.
And so I think when church people aren't real, when Christians aren't real, let me say it that way, because church folks and Christians are two different groups of people.
That's good.
But when Christians aren't real, then they think they're helping themselves, but what they're really doing is hindering the message of Christ. Mm-hmm. And so when you're not real, when you don't tell people about your struggles, when you don't tell people, that it was a process to get to where they are, or to where you are, then you really hurt them, because if you walk in off the street and you see this man or this woman that appears to have it together, and you never let that person know, hey, it's a process to get to where I am now, and even though I'm here, I still haven't made it.
That's real.
And so when you're real and you share that with people, then people can look upon you and say, okay, well, you become more approachable. And they understand that you didn't just start out, you didn't always have it together, as it appears, and you weren't always where you are right now.
I'm going to tell you something. A lady almost made me leave church, and I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. Not like that, because she stood before me, and I had just accepted my call. I had just made this decision. I was going to live for the Lord like never before. She stood up in church, and she talked about how perfect she was.
Wow.
And she was an old mother in the church that I trusted. And she was like, I ain't got no skeletons. I ain't got no bones. I ain't got no issues. I live for the Lord all day long. I boo boo. And she just kept going on. And I was looking at her and I was like, oh, I can't do this then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Here's this woman of God in church. Here's this woman of God who ministers. Here's this woman of God who teaches. And she's perfect. And I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, I got a laundry list of stuff that I'm going through. I got stuff. My room's still dirty.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? My room's still dirty. That was a great analogy. And my room is still dirty. And then this woman stands before me and tells me how perfect she is in Christ. And I'm telling you, I wanted to close my Bible that day and walk out the door.
Yeah, and so that's the second part of it is when Christians aren't real, then you as a new believer, or somebody new to accepting this call, it becomes overwhelming, it becomes insurmountable, and you kind of have this give up spirit. Like, there's no way that I can be that, because even though everyone might not know where you have been, you know where you've been.
That's good.
And so it's difficult when you know where you've been.
That's good.
And then you're trying to get to this perfect place.
That doesn't exist.
Correct.
Because if it existed, if the perfect place existed, then we wouldn't need him.
Exactly.
Then there's no need for Christ.
That's exactly
and it would be just our works. We'd be Sadducees. We'd be Pharisees. We'd be working our way in, and there'd be no need for Christ in our life. And I think that's the thing that we miss it. But if we're never taught that, if no ministry, if church people don't teach you that, and we just churching, and we just come in and give a good message on Sunday, and we're not teaching them that you ain't got to be perfect in this. Just keep submitting it to him. I remember my pastor blessed me one Sunday. He got up and he said, when you have a stronghold or something that you're fighting against, he said, every time it rises back up, just lay it back down.
That's right.
He said, every time it rises back up, lay it down. He said, eventually, it's not going to come back up against you.
Right.
But it may not be that you get over. You may not get that quick instant. I think we want a quick instant deliverance.
We do.
And it doesn't happen.
Correct.
Especially if you have something that you've been doing for a long time.
Right. And that's what we got to be real. We got to let them know that, the people in the Bible, Abraham didn't get it right. Abraham, was lying, you know what I'm saying? Even after the call,
he was still lying when he said Sarah wasn't his wife.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, she's not my wife, because he was trying to prevent something.
Correct. Exactly what it is.
That's good.
And so I use Abraham because how many times after you got saved, or you accept your call, does somebody say, oh, I hear you preaching? Oh, no, I'm not preaching.
That's a difference.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
but but you know, that's how I was. I knew I had been called to preach, and I'm like, no, that ain't what God called me. And I knew it, just like Abraham. No, that ain't my sister.
I tried to be a motivational speaker. That's what I.
That's
That's how I tried to label mine. I'm just gonna be motivational. The Lord's like, oh, okay, you can keep calling it whatever you want to, but at the end of the day,
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, but when we accept what God has really called us to do, then we understand that it's not in our hands.
That's good.
You
That's
know,
good.
You're not here today. You're not here today because I sought you out.
Yeah.
You're here today because God brought us together.
Yeah, in a divine connection.
Exactly.
In a divine connection, like it was divinely aligned. I didn't even have a guest for today.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And then our mutual came in place and was like, I think this will be great. And it was divinely aligned for us to connect and perfect. So I got to ask you this. Okay. How did you start cleaning out your room?
How did I start cleaning out my room?
How did you start? Because you accept this call. We accept.
Okay.
Then how did you start cleaning out your room?
I had to accept that it was dirty.
You gonna make okay? I'm about you about to preach. I'm trying not to do a run. See, I'm non-denominational, but I grew up Baptist, so I'll tear a bench up. I'll tear a pew up. I ain't got no problem. Yeah. So you had to accept that it was dirty. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where all you've been. But it just in a real context. Have you ever been over someone's house and they were stepping over stuff and they were moving coats and books out the way so you could have a seat?
That's good.
It's because they weren't ready to accept how dirty the room was.
Oh,
and so
Pastor
our
J,
life
that's
is like that. You know, we have to accept that, you know, even though we're comfortable here, we have to accept that it's still books and papers and clothes that are out of place.
That's good.
And so we have to accept that in our lives. And so I think that's where you have to start. You have to be real about it. I mean, you know, you take that church mother that talked about how perfect she was. Do you think she really was assessing how her life was? Do you think she assessed how she was trying to measure herself against the Word of God? Probably not. I mean, because if Jesus, come on, I ain't gonna go into all that.
No, go. You can go there on here. That's the wonderful thing about Coffee and Conversation. You get to go there.
Yeah,
okay.
I was trying not to do too much. I mean, but what we have to really understand is that Christ, you know, the Word of God tells us, you know, he who has an ear, let him hear.
Yes.
And so we have to hear what God is trying to tell us. And the first thing God wants us to understand is that we are not perfect.
Yeah.
But I called you in spite of. And so when we understand that our room is dirty, but He still called us, then we understand that even though He doesn't accept. Yes. Even though He doesn't expect us to be perfect, He does want us to work on cleaning it up.
Yes.
And so I think that's really where it began. You know, I had to really assess myself from a real perspective, and you know how I was living and how my life was, and I had to try to make changes, not for anybody but for God.
That's good for God. Because a lot of times we'll say, okay, I'm going to fix this for this person, or I'm going to fix this for whatever. And it's not. It becomes this intimate thing between you and God that says, you know what? Okay, here I am. My room is dirty. Right. We're using your room analogy. Yeah. It's visible. Because the wonderful thing that I love about God, when I'm around people and they cuss and they be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss in front of you. And I'm always like, well, He hear you all the time. You know what I'm saying? Or if I do something and somebody is like, you did or you said that, I'm like, He knew exactly what my next action and thought was going to be. He knows that on a consistent basis. But the acknowledgement, I think a lot of times we won't acknowledge, and we're afraid to acknowledge, like He can't see us. Yeah. It's like when they were in the garden and Adam was hiding.
Correct.
He was like, I'm naked. And the Lord was like, well, God is funny to me because He always asks the questions. He already knows the answers. He knows how you're going to respond. And he, like, how do you know you're naked, Adam? You know, He already knew they had ate from the tree. He already knew everything that they had already done. He knows everything we've already done. And when He goes to call us, He's not calling you looking at your stripes, your speckles, and all that. He's calling you because He knows there's something in you that's going to deliver a people.
Correct.
That's why He's calling you.
Right.
He knows that there's something richly deposited in you that's called to this neighborhood. I was looking at your neighborhood as I was driving up. Yeah. And I have something that I always say, that you guys are primed for the picking. We really right? Are. And that's what I told them. I was driving up, I was like, they are primed for the picking. They are in the perfect place. I love churches. I love when churches are set in places for prime for the picking, because you're in a position to go get.
Correct.
Your door is open to impact a community that you can tell really needs you. You're in the best place. You're in the best place ever.
That's what I believe too.
Oh no, you could tell. I could tell. Like, I was excited. I was like, oh, they'll do great things in this community. So I'm gonna ask you this: how in pastoring, because I see this all the time, and you're young, and you told me you have a life out of this. How do you protect your family and still make sure that you have family outside of pastoring? Because people fail in this area. Like, the church takes over, and the church don't always respect your intimate life. Your wife, how many kids do you have?
One.
Your baby, your son. Your son. People don't always protect it because they need so much of you. How do you protect that space so that you're giving what you need to give your wife and you're giving what you need to give to your son?
Well, I tried to set the tone right off the bat. And so, you know, one thing that I had done is I had always, I've had, you know, men that I've served under.
That's good.
And so.
Because you had to carry a crown first. I saw somebody print that. You had to carry a crown. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. Yes.
And they were family men. And so, you know, that's one of the things that they always talk to me about is making sure that the church understands, you know, that, you know, you got to be there. You got to be, you know, Justin for Toya. You got to be Justin for Joshua. And so, you know, right off the bat, even, you know, when we were going through the selection process, you know, I told them, you know, that's my first priority.
That's your first ministry.
Exactly.
That's good.
That's exactly it. And so I just, you know, I try to always let them understand that, you know, when it comes to downtime, you know, I need vacation time for me and Toya. I need vacation time for the whole family, and then I need vacation time for me. And so I just tried to set that tone right off the bat to let them understand that this is an important piece of my life that I cannot sacrifice.
That's good.
And so, and I think it's been successful
at
this point.
Because it's necessary.
Correct.
And we'll sell out for ministry, but not for our homes.
I know. That's exactly it. I mean, and like I said, I do the things that I told you about. I mean, but I also, you know, coach baseball.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, don't miss basketball games. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, we do the whole thing.
That's good. That's good. Tell me some of the things you guys are doing in community here at the church, because community is very important to me. And one of the things that I always say is we are MIA. Like, I have an acronym now on my website, MIA, which is Ministry in Action.
Awesome.
You know, Ministry in Action. Tell me what you guys are doing in the community.
Our biggest thing that we're doing is we feed people.
Praise the Lord.
That's our biggest thing.
Yep.
You know, Bethlehem literally means house of bread.
Yes.
And
that's good.
Yeah, and so we feed those that don't have it. And so whenever we have something, we open up the doors to feed this community.
That's good.
We're planning in about 2 weeks now. We're going to have soup and sandwiches. And so anybody that will just come through, get your soup, get your sandwiches. We do Harvest Festival where we just invite everyone out and we feed people. We have some other things, you know, bouncy houses and face painting, stuff like that. But our big thing is feeding people.
Because it's scriptural for us to take care of the poor.
That's exactly
Then
it.
why do we miss that as Christians? Because that's scriptural for us to take care of the poor. But I will hear Christians all the time when they have to give to the poor or give to the homeless, they need to just get a job.
Yeah.
But it's scriptural for us to take care of the poor. Why do we have a hard time with that?
Because we still have active Pharisees and Sadducees. That's why. I mean, to put it simple.
That's good.
Yeah, just very actively. So yeah, we try to feed people. We feed people in this community, and then we go downtown and we feed people at local missions as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's our big thing.
That's good. You know what? We are almost out of time. We got just a few more minutes. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to share out of your heart with the people? Anything you want to leave them with so that they can just, that even encourages them? One of the things with Coffee and Conversations was just to encourage people when God gave me this, to encourage people so that they could live this fruitful life, so that they could see like a life of Christ in this world, just not even just in the church. I think people so center God in just the church building, and God is so outside the church. He's so outside the walls. He's in so many different places. So is there anything you want to leave the people with?
Just remember seed time and harvest time. No matter where you are in your life, it's not too late to go ahead and plant your seed in the ground.
That's good.
And whether that be the beginning of something that you want to do spiritually, whether that be in your finances, whether that be in your marriage, whether that be in your job, your career, plant the seed.
Yeah.
Plant the seed. God said seed time and harvest time will always be with you.
Oh, that's
but it's
good.
not just about agriculture. It's about your entire life. You can plant the seed. You can start over in this season.
That's good.
Put the seed in the ground, water it, nurture it. We want to put the seed out there a lot of times, but we don't want to do the work that it takes to bring forth the increase.
Good.
But in order for us to have the harvest that God has promised us, we have to put that seed in the ground.
Oh, that's
and,
good.
And you gotta have more than one harvest. You can't just have a harvest in career. You can't just have a harvest in marriage. You can't just have a harvest in church. You have to have a bunch of different harvests that'll come in. When farmers talk about harvest, they don't just bring in greens. They have greens. They have okra. They have tomatoes.
Man, you helping me. If y'all
onions.
not catching
So
this, come on, Pastor. I'm trying not to. Come on, throw something at you. That's good.
So we got to have a bunch of different
that's
things
good.
in our harvest or in our vineyard for us to have the harvest that God wants us to have. So don't just plant one thing. Plant everything that God said you can have, and He'll bring it to pass.
You know how powerful that is? Even me, as you're sitting here talking about it, I'm thinking about areas. Have I been planting in every area of my life so that I can reap a harvest back in those areas of my life? I have a nonprofit, so am I planting properly? In my head starts moving. I'm like, am I planting? What you said is so powerful, because we'll get so focused on one thing.
Right.
We'll focus on career, and we'll plant, and we'll make career successful.
Correct.
Or we'll focus just on on family, this one area. And the Lord has created us to be multifaceted and to be able to plant so that we can receive a harvest abundantly. And as you were saying that, because I see things, I could see the field, and I could see, and I am a little bit of a country girl. I have been on the farm, and I could see where my grandparents had the grape vineyard over there, and I could see where we grew greens, and I could see where the cornfield was.
Exactly.
I started seeing those things and putting it into, this is the reality of what our life, we shouldn't have a deficit in some area of our life. Like, our life shouldn't be strong, because I'm going to tell you something I've learned is when we have those areas that are real strong and it's weak in the other, it's because that's the only area we trust.
That's exactly it.
So we trust our work, we trust our career. We don't think we're as good in this area, so we won't plant seed in that area.
Yeah.
We won't plant seed because we're not confident in that area. But God didn't ever ask us to have confidence in ourselves. He asked us to be confident in Him.
That's exactly it.
And so we just need to plant the seed and do the work. Man, oh, y'all, the word is going forth. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting me invade your church. Please get connected. If you are in the Memphis area, share your address or location and service times.
No problem. Okay. 273 Ingle Avenue, and that's Memphis, Tennessee, 38109. And Sunday school starts at 9:30, and then our worship services at 11 a.m. And then on Tuesday nights, we have our Hour of Power, which is our Bible study, which is where I kind of recap what we talked on Sunday and allow people to ask questions and try to dive a little bit deeper than what I can do in my 30 minutes on Sunday morning.
That's good. And so Tuesday becomes a recap for you, where people can ask questions about the sermon. Do you know that's powerful? Because a lot of times people get word and then they just move on.
Correct.
But when they left that Sunday, they're still thinking and questioning and trying to figure it out. And if they don't have the right study life, they may miss something. So I applaud you for doing that. That's really big, because that makes you accessible to your people also.
That's right.
That everybody can ask whatever questions they need in one room. That's really dope. They know dope is coming at some point out my mouth. That is really dope. I want to thank y'all this morning for logging on with me with Pastor. Yeah, come on.
Sorry, got to pub up my wife.
Yeah, baby, get it in. Hit
www.case31.com. That's my wife's jewelry and t-shirt company. This is one of her t-shirts I'm wearing.
I love t-shirts. I love t-shirts.
Yeah, this is one right here.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to wear that on, but pub it up. Case31.com.
Okay, awesome. Drop that link for me, Jess. Case31.com. His wife has jewelry. His wife has t-shirts. Y'all know how I am about my t-shirts.
Right.
That is so super, super awesome. I need to talk to your wife. We might need to do some partnerships with some things.
Sounds good. She's from Little Rock too.
Oh, I love that Little Rock. Love that Little Rock thing. Thank you guys for logging on. Hey, don't forget, we have Pillow Talk coming up December the 22nd. This is the last Pillow Talk for the year. God is going to do such an impartation. He has been stirring something up in my belly. Do not forget about Pillow Pillow Talk. Also, go log on and get my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to YouTube, you'll miss Sunday Inspiration. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about free me from people. That's what tomorrow's inspiration is going to be about. Free me from people. Log on to the website, LaKishaMJohnson.com. Get subscribed to the daily devotionals so that you can be in the mood for what's going on. December the 7th, I am speaking at, I keep forgetting this, but it's at the Women of Faith, and it's a great thing. There's another lady that'll be talking with us, and we're going to just talk about how our faith invades every area of our life. Go ahead and get your ticket for that. That's a Thursday. It's going to be at SC Downtown Little Rock. I'm super, super excited that, ladies, let me tell you something. We already have the dates for Pillow Talk January 2018. April, we're booking those dates. So let me tell you something we'll do for you. If you want to do a Pillow Talk for your organization, for your group, we'll come in and do a Pillow Talk for you. You can reach us at booking@justbeinglmj.com. And that's the same for bringing me out to speak or to host an event for you. You know what I'm about to say. You know, my whole thing is love. I love you guys so much. Like, I love you. Y'all know I love you more than anything you can even imagine. But more than anything, God loves you. And then you know what I'm going to challenge you to do? Do what? Go be love today. Be love in action in your community, in your home. Let people feel the presence of God's love through you. I will see you back Monday morning at 5 a.m. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube so that you can get tomorrow's inspiration. Love you guys so much. Love, peace, and blessings.